So I have a special guest today. Her name is Karena Neukirchner, and she is a coach who specializes in helping people identify and heal subconscious blocks. So get rid of those blocks that are keeping you from doing those things that you want to do. So I'm super excited to have her with us, and she's going to talk all about that part of writer's block. So help me welcome Karena. Are you here? There you
I
are.
am here.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Clara. I'm so happy to be here.
It is my pleasure. So, first, just take a few minutes to tell us what you do. I, of course, probably didn't do you any justice when I just gave a little snippet. What you do, I'm sure, is much bigger than that. But I'm so focused on the writer's block piece that I have tunnel vision. So, tell us about your business as a whole.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you did great. I appreciate it. So, my business is called Hello Inner Light, and I basically just work with people to help identify and heal the old emotional wounds, subconscious blocks, and self sabotaging core beliefs that are holding them back from living the lives that they long to live. And I work with a lot of writers and a lot of creatives because it is sometimes easy to get blocked when you're trying to share your voice with the world, when you're trying to share your heart with the world, and when you're really wanting to just bring through that authentic essence that you want to put into your book or into your videos or whatever the creatives are creating. So I love to work with people to really identify what is exactly holding them back. I work with a very holistic model of the psyche. So we include the subconscious, the inner child, and those primitive parts of our nervous system that are just trying to keep us safe. Sometimes the things that are holding us back are just trying to keep us safe. So that's what I specialize in.
So, those are our friends that protect us, but we still need to figure out why they're blocking us. Why can I not sit down and write? I know what I'm supposed to be writing about. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not doing it. So, how is writer's block connected to the subconscious mind? Tell us what your thoughts are.
Yeah. So there are a couple of ways that I see people dealing with writer's block that have to do with the subconscious mind. And the first thing to understand about the subconscious mind is that 95% of our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors actually originate in our subconscious. That's what current neuroscience tells us. And 95% is obviously a really huge percentage. So if we don't know how to deal with the stuff that's holding us back, then it can be really frustrating for us because that 5%, we have these concepts of ourselves that we're conscious beings and we're in charge of our lives. And of course, that's true to some degree. But when we hold that belief that we're conscious beings fully in control of our lives, then it can be really frustrating when things like writer's block come up, where we just stare at a blank screen and it's like, I have absolutely no idea what to do. And I keep showing up here and my inspiration is gone, or my self-doubt is sky high, or there's other ways that the subconscious can kind of block us just by throwing distractions in front of us, intrusive thoughts, like all the self-doubts, all the to-do lists coming forward when we should be writing. So that feels really frustrating when we think that we should just be able to do it. And so I help people understand that there's a much more holistic view of the psyche, that there's a lot more going on below the level of consciousness. And one of the biggest things is that big parts of our nervous system are very primitive, and they want to keep us safe. They want to keep us safe in the world. So they're going to hold us back if they feel unsafe. And unfortunately for us, those primitive parts equate anything that's unfamiliar with being unsafe. And so if we're trying to stretch out of our comfort zone or do things that we've never done, that can start to hold us back because it's unfamiliar. We're venturing into new territory, and these primitive parts of our brain just want to stop that. And like I already mentioned, these are protective parts of our psyche. They want to take care of us. It's just that really they're holding us back. They're working off of programming that isn't actually accurate. And so the way that I see fear coming into writer's block is we may not consciously feel afraid, But we have these really specific mental models in our subconscious mind that we formed during childhood, especially in the first 7 years when our nervous system is really malleable. And so we're just wiring in all these models of how the world works. And deep in our subconscious mind, we have a very specific mental model of ourself. And we have a very specific mental model of the world. So when we were kids, if maybe, every time we tried to express ourselves, our teachers or our parents or someone in society didn't want to hear us consistently or kind of criticized us consistently, then we might form a mental model that says, no one wants to hear what I have to say, or the things that I say are bad. That would be the mental model about the sense of self. Or we could put that in a mental model about how the world operates. So we may form deep in our subconscious mind, again, this isn't happening consciously most of the time. We might form a mental model of the world that says the world is harsh, or the world is going to criticize me, or the world doesn't want to hear what I have to say. So these mental models, they're very specific based on the things that we experienced, and they're very strong. And so if we want to put our voice out into the world, put our creativity out into the world, and yet we have these mental models that include a lot of self-doubt, or mental models that include a lot of fear of criticism, or something like that, then this can be really, really difficult. And I love the work of Brené Brown. I imagine you and most of your listeners have heard of her because she's really famous, but she is a social researcher, and she gathers all sorts of data on vulnerability and shame. And she has been gathering data on creativity. And she says that 85% of the population or so has a specific moment they can remember from their childhood of being criticized to the point that they actually changed their behavior. And that over 50% of those had something to do with our creativity. They had something to do with us expressing our truth in the world. And so I think that's why I see a lot of creatives and writers in my business, because those mental models and those protective parts of their psyche just go crazy sometimes when they try to put their heart into the world, put their work into the world, when they sit down at that blank page to really lay out their truth, and nothing comes forward. So I think that we carry culturally a lot of wounding around our creativity. And if that's there, and if you're experiencing what I already talked about, that kind of those blocks of self-doubt, those blocks of complete lack of inspiration, those blocks of confusion or distraction, or just even kind of self-sabotaging, like I can't even sit down to write. I know I should, but I keep avoiding it. Those often have to do with the subconscious. It often has to do with that creativity wound that Brené Brown has been researching. And I just see that a lot. And that's how I see the subconscious tying into writer's block, is there's some part of the psyche trying to protect us. And there could be mental models that are just subconsciously being activated and holding us back.